Hello and welcome to the Nexus. What's next? I'm on a roll, so why stop now? Unfortunately, we're no longer sponsored by Paperclips, but that won't stop me from letting you know what's happening or what's going to happen to you in League of Legends, because this is a larger patch in terms of the sheer amount of things to cover. There'll definitely be timestamps in the description. So let's get this party started. Alright, so Camille, her passive has a lower cooldown, but still ends at 10 seconds, so it's just an early cooldown, lower. Her Q, her second hit now does 200% damage again. Overall, I think Camille is going to be in just about the same place. They didn't get too crazy with it, so expect to see just the same all the time. Corki has a slight raise in base attack speed and damage. I couldn't really tell you how fast it is now, but it's like a tenth of a second faster. His base damage is also higher. It's now 58 instead of 56. I know, the Riot's pulling out all the stops for this one. His passive is actually now going to do 80% magic damage and 20% physical rather than 50-50 on his auto attacks. And his W, you can cast other abilities or they can be buffered while casting W. Overall, yep, that's the Corki's more of a mid laner now. Ivern, his E, or his exploding shield, damage is going to be down, it looks like, all over the place. It's going to end up 50 lower. It's down 10 at the first rank, 20 at the second rank, 30 at the third rank, 40 and 50, look at that. Alright, so overall, Ivern, maybe a little less useful now. I'm sure the shield or the decay is still the same. Everything else is still the same. Just that damage is down, but nobody really plays Ivern for the damage anyway. So that's that. Jax, he's W. When you activate it to get an empowered auto attack, he's going to have 50 extra range. Overall, you're probably not going to notice much. All right. Jhin, his Q damage is going to be down 5 damage at all ranks, but the ratio up is 0.1 all ranks. His ultimate, his base damage is also up 10, 15, and 20 for each rank respectively for each shot. Overall, giving his Q higher ratio is going to do a lot more than taking down 5 damage. So it's a definite Q buff, definite alt buff. Do I think it's going to bring Jhin back solidly into the meta? Probably not, but definitely a good, nice sized buff for Jhin. Karma, her E shield is going to be down 20 at the max rank, and the alted E is going to be down 20% of what it was. It's not going to be a 30% of the effectiveness for all other teammates. Overall, Karma is going to be a little less useful. I think pro play, especially down here in bronze, you're probably not going to notice a whole lot of difference because Karma are just damage bots down here. Kindred, her base damage is up to 57. That's going to be 3 points of damage more. Her W, Wolf Speed, is going to be up 200. And her E down 20 mana to 50 mana on cast. Overall, Kindred takes too many stacks to actually be useful, so bringing up her base damage a little bit and giving her these slight buffs, also, I don't think it's going to bring her back into the meta. But it's a nice show on Riot's part to maybe get people to try it and see that she's not great. That's about it. Malzahar, Q damage is going to be down 20 damage at the highest rank, and his ultimate damage, the beam damage, is going to be down 50, and the beam ratio is down 0.05 ability power. However, the QSS no longer stops the beam damage if they're still in range. Overall, they nerfed the shit out of Malzahar for no good reason because they moved him back to the mid lane. I guess they just needed to, but just, yep, Malzahar. Rakan, they gave him bug fixes, so we're not going to really talk about that one. Rek'sai, base damage is going to be up and their armor is going to grow faster. W, when burrowed, and they up the unburrow damage to be 0.4 higher on that ratio. That's about it. Also, the alt is faster. I don't know. They said harder to dodge. I don't know what the hell that means. I'm going to assume it's faster, somehow more reliable. They were really vague about it. Overall, I think Rek'sai rework was a little underwhelming. It seemed really exciting, but it was very underwhelming in practice, and I don't think this is actually going to do much for her. Rumble, Rumble, they wrote a freaking paragraph about the passive is going to be more time before heat fades off. It's going to fade off at a slower rate, but the amount tends to be more. Q is going to be 75 rather than full damage to minions. Cooldown is going to scale to 6 seconds rather than 6 at all ranks, and starts at 10. But the damage ratio is up to 1.1 of ability power rather than just 1. W shield time is down half a second, but the shield is more early and late. E base damage is up 15 at all ranks. Slow is up to 70% at rank 5. Only change is at rank 5 for that slow. Overall, honestly, this one I actually kind of want to talk about because it's obviously going to have a higher impact on the pros. They're going to have a more difficult time with it. He's not going to have such a dominant laning phase. However, down here in bronze and the lower elos where people tend to have a hard time actually scaling Rumble's passive up to a point where it can do quite a bit more damage, it's actually going to be more useful for us, I feel like, because it decayed too fast for us to be really able to take advantage. We didn't have a lot of foresight on how that's going to work. Now I think it's actually going to be a little more effective at lower elos and a lot less effective at higher elos. Moving on to Xayah. Her Q, you can't really attack while the animation is happening anymore, so you can't get that quick root on your enemies, and the W cooldown is 4 seconds at each rank. Overall, I don't think they killed Xayah, just a little less dominant. I think they put her in a good place. I thought she was in a pretty good place, but that you know, actually playing her a lot more and getting better at her, she is in a better place after some of these nerfs. Zac, his W is going to be down 10 damage at each rank, and his E is going to be down 20 damage at each rank. Overall, I think they wanted to take Zac out of, the permaban, permapick status in the pros. However, I think a lot of his dominance came from a lot of what he had to offer utility-wise, and I don't think these nerfs are going to necessarily be able to bring Zac to a good spot for the pros. That's just my opinion. Pet targeting for stationary pets for Zyra Heimerdinger, you actually have to issue a full auto attack for the pets to attack the target you want. You can't auto and then cancel and still have it happen. Although there are timestamps, there's a lot of support items changes, so I'm just going to try to cover the biggest impact ones. Locket is actually going to be up to a 36% bonus health shield. Leads to some pretty cool gargoyle, stoneplate, and locket kind of combinations. Philol did a video on it. If you want to do that, check him out. He's a really great YouTuber for anything you want to find out really neat kind of things about. Moving on to redemption, heal amount is down, but it scales 3 times as much with heal and shield amplifiers, so it's not as useful on every single champion that you build it on, but still pretty impactful for those ranged shielding, healing supports. Again, these are just some of the bigger changes. Obviously, they made a lot of adjustments to a lot of these items. These are just the biggest impact ones that I think you're actually going to see. Moving on to the artist formerly known as Zeke's Harbinger. It no longer gives AP, but when you cast your ult, enemies in a circle around you are slowed by 20%, and allies' attacks burn your enemies for 50% bonus magic damage over 2 seconds. That's freaking insane, by the way. Like, let's say you have just for example, a Jhin crit of like 1,000. That's going to do 1,000 plus 50 plus 500 bonus magic damage. It kind of helps with, the tanks that are coming up being able to burn through them and give a little bit of hybrid damage so they can't just stack armor. But that's not all. Then if you attack an enemy that your ally attacked, your circle starts on fire and deals 40 magic damage per second and are now slowed by 40% for 3 seconds. Overall, this was the only one I added on overall. Just try it out. It seems really cool. It's something I'm really excited to see this patch. I haven't seen it a whole lot, but if you do get a chance, please check it out. It seems like a really cool item. Now the changes that you should know about because it can really affect your game. Doran's ring. I'm gonna sum this one up in a little bit of a teaser. If you kill a minion in lane and 5 other Doran's rings are around to hear it, how much mana do you gain? That's just 4 because that's a unique passive now. Doran's shield is just 50 more gold. That's it. Still does all the cool things that you know and love about it. Just a little less sustain in that first outing because it does cost a little bit more. Also, please, 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 please keep an eye out for that new event that's going to be popping up sometime this patch. It's going to be Chaos versus Order. Lots of cool things going on there. A lot of cool rewards that they're going to be doing it, and they're doing it in kind of a quest system, so it seems really cool. I do encourage you to check it out. If you want to know more about that, I have looked up a few articles kind of seeing what that should look like. Just let me know in the comments. I'll do a little short on it. Otherwise, just play it, earn some stuff, and have a lot of fun. As always, thank you all so much for watching. If you all watched all the way through, props, you're a trooper. But anyway, thank you so much. Like, subscribe if you like what I'm doing here. Otherwise, until I make another video, have a good one.